On August 15, 1977, the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio was quietly searching the skies for signals. This 500-foot wide machine was able to detect radio waves coming from deep space and translate them into sounds. Then humans could listen for signs of intelligent life beyond our planet. Radio signals were chosen because they travel well through space and are easy to detect. But detecting them is hard. Static, interference, solar flares, and other natural phenomena constantly emit background radiation that drowns out the faint whisper of distant worlds. So scientists had to filter out all the noise to find anything meaningful. The machine worked by collecting data and then converting it into audio frequencies between 50 and 500 megahertz. From there, researchers could identify unusual signals by looking at a special device called an oscilloscope. This machine translated the incoming data into visual lines and squiggles, and it was there, amidst the usual static, that Jerry Amann, a volunteer researcher with the SETI project, saw something incredible. On the printout from that day, a narrow band of frequencies peaked above the background noise, standing out like a beacon. It lasted for 72 seconds and sat right at 1420 megahertz, the exact frequency scientists believed an alien civilization might use to broadcast across the galaxy. Amann was stunned. He circled the signal on the printout and wrote the word "Wow" next to it, in all capital letters, almost as if he had seen a ghost. But when his colleagues arrived the next day, they found nothing. The signal was gone. Like a phantom limb, it remained imprinted on their memories, but they couldn't get it back. Now, you might be thinking this is where the story of E.T. begins, the call from distant worlds that ushered in the era of alien contact. But no, that didn't happen. For one thing, there was no little green man waving from a flying saucer. And for another, the signal never repeated. In fact, after an international team of scientists spent millions of hours scanning the skies, they've never picked up anything even close to it again. They have no idea what it was or where it came from. One theory is that it was a message we missed, a call from a faraway world begging us to take notice. But if that's true, why haven't they tried again? Why haven't we heard from them since? One answer is that they didn't mean to contact us at all. Perhaps it was a naturally occurring phenomenon that just happened to look like a transmission. If that's the case, it would make sense that it never repeated. There are about 100 billion Earth-like planets out there, meaning there are potentially billions of civilizations capable of sending similar signals. And if any one of those were to beam toward Earth, chances are it would disappear into the vastness of space, never to be detected. In that scenario, the wow signal was just a cosmic coincidence, a momentary blip on the screen caused by a radio wave that bounced off a random object in space, maybe a comet or a cloud of gas. But there are also plenty of reasons why aliens might have meant to contact us, yet we've never heard from them again. Maybe they only transmitted the message once because they knew we wouldn't respond. Or maybe they assumed we would reply to their transmission and we didn't. Or maybe, just maybe, the signal really was intelligent life trying to contact us. And since 1977, they've been watching, waiting for a response. In fact, the more we learn about the universe, the more evidence we find that points to the wow signal not being a mistake. First, the frequency itself. While 1420 MHz isn't necessarily an intelligent choice of frequencies, it does come with some cosmic significance. Back in 1969, radio astronomers Frank Drake and Carl Sagan suggested that it should be humanity's universal hello. Since then, it has become an internationally recognized symbol of search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And while it was the perfect choice for the Big Ear telescope, because it was sensitive to those frequencies, it wasn't necessarily the best choice for broadcasting a message across the galaxy. After all, if you wanted to send a signal to every alien civilization within 100 light years, you'd want to pick a frequency that could travel that far, which is much higher than 1420 megahertz. So the fact that the wow signal chose to broadcast at that frequency suggests someone made a conscious decision to do so. Second, the strength of the signal itself. According to the laws of physics, the strength of a radio wave depends on two things: how powerful the source is and how far away it is. For example, imagine you're standing next to a bonfire. The heat from the fire spreads out in all directions, and the closer you stand to the flames, the warmer you feel. But the further away you move, the weaker the heat becomes. Eventually, you'll feel no warmth at all. That's because the heat is spreading out over a larger and larger area, making it less concentrated. Radio waves follow the same rules. The source has to be powerful enough to overcome the natural noise of the universe and focused enough to reach a specific target. And in both cases, the strength of the signal depends on how far away the source is. But when the Big Ear telescope measured the WOW signal, it showed no variance in strength over time, suggesting its source was incredibly powerful. If it was coming from a star system hundreds of light years away, it would have gradually gotten weaker as its radio waves spread out into the darkness. But it didn't. It stayed constant. So either the source was extremely close, or it was unbelievably powerful. Of course, it's possible that the signal simply seemed constant when really it was getting weaker. But if that were the case, the Big Ear telescope should have detected a drop-off eventually. It never did, and that's why so many scientists believe the WOW signal really was an attempt to contact us. But if they wanted to get our attention, why haven't they tried again? Well, there are lots of answers to that question. Maybe the civilization that sent the signal was destroyed before they got our message. Maybe they didn't realize we'd actually received it, or maybe, just maybe, they stopped trying because they didn't like what they saw. After all, when Jerry Eman first saw the WOW signal, he thought it was so important that he circled it and wrote the word WOW next to it. But when Carl Sagan learned about the signal, he reportedly said, "WOW is right." Then he added, "Great, now we can go back to work." That may seem like a strange thing to say. After all, discovering intelligent life beyond our planet should be the greatest scientific discovery in history. But Carl Sagan had already dedicated his career to the search for extraterrestrial life. And when the WOW signal appeared, he and his colleagues began combing through the data from the Big Ear telescope, hoping to find something else, anything else. But they found nothing. No second signal, no third signal, no repetition at all. So maybe Carl Sagan went back to work because he didn't expect the WOW signal to be anything more than static. Or maybe, just maybe, he didn't want to raise false hopes. After all, if you've ever played a game of hide-and-seek, you'll know that the seeker has a terrible habit of giving up. Even when they're close to finding the hider, sometimes it's easier to pretend they're not there at all. Maybe the same is true for aliens. Perhaps the WOW signal was an attempt to contact us, but after we didn't respond, they gave up and stopped trying. That doesn't mean they won't try again in the future, though. After all, we've never heard from them before, but we have heard from ourselves. Scientists believe that early human ancestors created a global communication system 300,000 years ago, long before the written word existed, and they maintained it until we began speaking around 150,000 years later. Until then, we were all using gestures, facial expressions, and sounds to communicate. But nobody knows why our primitive ancestors stopped using that system once they started using language. Maybe they forgot. Maybe it was too much work, or maybe, just maybe, they were worried we wouldn't understand. The universe is unimaginably vast and filled with wonders we can't even begin to comprehend. What do we know about aliens? Nothing. Yet we assume they'll be curious about us, just like we are about them. But maybe they're afraid. Maybe they see humanity waging wars and destroying habitats and polluting the very air we breathe, and they wonder if we're worth talking to. Maybe they tried to contact us once, but after seeing what we're like, they decided to stay away. If that's true, then the WOW signal wasn't just a message from a distant world. It was a warning. And if they stop trying to contact us now, maybe that's a sign we should do the same. Now watch. NASA found a way to break the laws of physics or check out. This alien planet could be our backup if Earth gets destroyed.